Hey guys, Marvel Fan 45 here, and it has been a while since I've made a YouTube video. However, I currently have a fever, if you could not tell from my voice, so I am currently at home, and I really had nothing better to do than make a YouTube video. And I was like, what should I make my YouTube video on after not being on YouTube for all of this time? Which I apologize, by the way. Since I've been gone, I really have not watched that many movies. I've watched a few movies. I watched, Gaspar Noé's Lux Eterna yesterday, which was I got a headache after watching it, but it was a 5-star experience, if you get what I mean. That movie was insane. If you want a really experimental piece of art to just look at, I would check out Lux Eterna. I need to see his new movie Vortex too that came out this year. I feel like that last year, sorry. I feel like that would be on this list if I got to see it, but I did not get to see it. So that is unfortunate. And yes, I am making my top 10 of 2022 list 2 months into the new year, which is definitely the correct decision. And this is shocking since I haven't even watched that many movies from 2022. I watched a few, but not a whole bunch this year. I didn't go overboard like I am this year. Um, I might make an updated top 10 of all time video if anybody is interested in that. It hasn't really changed up that much because my favorites stay relatively the same. Although my favorites are pretty specifically just one or two directors who mainly dominate my top 10. But yeah, let's ignore all that and do my top 10 of 2022. Now, there are a few movies that are not on this list that might surprise people that aren't on this list. So, one movie that is not on this list that I want to mention right off the bat before anybody mentions it is Top Gun Maverick. Now, I really enjoyed Top Gun Maverick. I thought it was a good movie. However, compared to other movies on this list, I didn't really have the urge to go back to it as much. So here are my top 10 movies of 2022. Oh, also Violent Night also somehow almost got on this list purely because I enjoyed it a whole bunch. But yeah, let's get into it. Number 10, Michael Bay's Ambulance. Now, if you know me, you would not be shocked that this is on this list. If you follow my Letterboxd, you would not be shocked at all this is on my list. So, Michael Bay does a bank heist movie, but also it's just a constant chase scene. And it's really, really enjoyable. The drone shots are crazy. It's filmed beautifully. And Jake Gyllenhaal gives one of the best performances of the entire year, as this insane brother who is just pretty cringe, but his acting is great. Now, number 9 is Jordan Peele's Nope. I just really enjoyed this movie. I saw it in a luxury theater. It was a really cool experience. I just enjoyed it. Like, I don't really have much to say about it. Like, there's obviously some symbolism about film, etc. in Nope, but I just found it to be enjoyable. Like, I'm not looking too incredibly deep into it. These first 4 movies I think are just really good, but like I wouldn't look deeper into them. Now, number 8 is Ti West's X. Now, this movie was a great time. Me and my friend, the Legally Blind critic, watched X together and had an equally shocked reaction at what happens during the final 20 minutes. Because, well, you know what's gonna happen, but like the the amount of like gore and nudity in the last like 20 minutes is just like absurd. Like, it's completely insane. But that's what makes it so enjoyable. And the direction is really good. It's also basically the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it's really good either way. So yeah. Number 7, Matt Reeves' The Batman. I loved seeing this movie in theaters. The atmosphere was great. It was a cool experience, very edgy, great time. Uh, Action was great. Riddler was a great villain. Batman, played by Robert Pattinson, gives one of the best performances of the year. Speaking of performances, um, he portrays Batman in more of a Bruce Wayne type light, where, well, for one, it's more focused on. So it splits the movie. So the first half of the movie is more Batman, the second half of the movie is more Bruce Wayne. And the entire way he portrays the character of just like super sleep deprived, super depressed, and just like on the edge is really amazing. Now, on a completely different note, number 6, Everything Everywhere All at Once. This movie is just an incredibly good time with a really good message. Uh, I literally burst out laughing like, nobody else in my theater burst out laughing at the Wong Kar-wai scene. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But there's an alternate universe where it's literally just a Wong Kar-wai movie, and that is it. And I found that so funny. Obviously the ending is great, the direction is great, the plot is super unique. You would not see this plot every day. And it's just got a good message in the end. It's not super depressing. And every character gets a happy ending. And they all get... It's just good. Like, it's a feel-good movie and a great time. Speaking of feel-good movies, which are a great time, number 5, Knives Out Glass Onion. This movie was an amazing experience. So I predicted the twist within the first, 10 minutes of the movie. However, that did not affect my experience. The final hour of the movie is one of the best mystery movie scenes in the decade so far. The twist is so incredibly satisfying that once you get to it, once you get to that point in the movie, well, the whole thing with the movie is your perspective is one way for the first hour, and you think you know what's happening. And then the ending happens, like the entire final hour, not just the ending, the entire final hour. And your entire view of the story just shifts. Also, Edward Norton's face at the end is great, and Rian Johnson just directs this film amazingly, and Daniel Craig gives probably one of his best performances as Bennett Blanc again. An amazing film. Number 4, James Cameron's Avatar 2. This movie, I was not expecting a lot from. I watched the first Avatar after seeing this movie. Now, let me just say this. If this list was based purely on directing, Avatar 2 would be number 1, no contest. Avatar 2 is the best directed movie of the year, not even close, not even a debate. Now, the direction was literally made my jaw drop in the theater at multiple points. I was genuinely curious how James Cameron even achieved some of the shots he did. Some of the shots he got are just insane, like completely otherworldly and insane. The story is good, however, the cinematography and direction is jaw-dropping. The scale is so massive. Avatar 2 is a masterpiece. Number 3, on the topic of 3-hour masterpieces, Babylon. Now, this movie, I was expecting a Wolf of Wall Street type movie. This is somehow more regressive and degenerate than the Wolf of Wall Street is. This movie is batshit crazy. There is so much stuff that happens within the span of like an hour in this movie. I was literally reeling to keep up the entire movie. I could barely keep up. It was my personal favorite scene is probably the scene where Margot Robbie attempts to fight a snake. I really like that scene. And you did hear that right. Margot Robbie does attempt to fight a snake. Also, the ending. The ending is incredibly divisive. But personally, I loved it. I think it is the perfect ending to this movie. I didn't think this movie could have ended any other way. And the direction by Damien Chazelle is beautiful. And obviously the score is great, because it's a Damien Chazelle movie. Now, number 2. This was my number 1 for a long time, throughout the entire year. Avatar 2 beat it out for a week. And then I thought about it and realized I did not like Avatar 2 as much as this movie. And Babylon almost beat it out, but then I thought, and I liked this movie more. And only one movie beat this movie out through the entire year. So number 2 is Robert Eggers' The Northman. This movie is fantastic. This movie scratches every single niche that I want to see in a movie. And it's a Viking movie. This movie is just beautiful. That's the only word to describe it. This movie is beautiful. I have not rewatched it yet. But the ending of this movie is one of it is my favorite ending of the year. So, Avatar 2 lacks in plot. Babylon has too much plot. The Northman is the perfect balance. It has a perfect plot, pitch perfect direction, and the cinematography is insane. Robert Eggers' direction here is crazy. And the entire plot line is so good. The final scene where he hops off the boat is probably one of the most shocking moments of the year. I watched this movie 2 nights in a row when it came out, back to back, and I liked it even more the second time. That says a lot about this movie. Now, number 1, the only thing that beat out The Northman for me is Steven Spielberg's The Fabelmans. Now, oh boy, I have a lot to say on this movie, and I might just do a review on it. But the visual style Spielberg has been using since West Side Story now, the style he seems to be continuing with, is amazing. I am in love with his visual flourishes right now. His visuals, this movie, are... I don't think they're as good as West Side Story, which West Side Story, funny, was my movie of the year last year. And now Steven Spielberg has my movie of the year 2 years in a row until I rewatched The Northman. Now, The Fabelmans is just a Steven Spielberg autobiography about his childhood. Now, I'll be totally honest. I thought this movie would be alright. I thought it would be okay, and I was just proven wrong. I don't know what else to say. The plot is incredibly investing. The characters are incredibly investing. When emotional beats happen. Sure, it's cheesy, but the way... It's the opposite of Babylon. It talks about movies the opposite way of Babylon. It's... Steven Spielberg really just portrays a love of film here that I relate to a massive degree. So yeah, number 1, The Fabelmans. Hopefully I'll be back to make more videos, and have a good day, everyone.